So the question here is that could you do a video about selling your house and renting instead to buy Bitcoin? So should you sell your house and rent instead and then use those proceeds to buy Bitcoin? So I'm actually going to show a video here. All the questions worked out perfectly with the news that I wanted to share today. And that's very rare. So I'm going to bring this up. We're going to watch this. I'm sure some people have seen this, but it is pretty cool. So this is a guy, this is from Bitcoin News as well. It says Bitcoin changes lives. This was kind of surfacing around last night on the internet. But here's the clip.
Why don't you go in the shelter?
Because me and her, she has separation anxiety and PTSD, so she has somebody to be there when she goes to sleep. So
I'm also pregnant.
Yeah.
You're pregnant out here?
Yeah.
Why can't you go into the shelter?
It's just
I can't really sleep without him.
Yeah.
Oh, and you said they're full? The shelter's full?
Yeah, most of them have waiting list.
And they're churches? Is there anywhere that will take you guys?
Churches won't really take you unless somebody's there and you can't sleep there at night.
So you have no options except to sleep out here?
Really though, if we have the tent.
Yeah. But I mean, you're leaving? You said you're leaving?
Yeah.
Where are you guys gonna go?
We're gonna move states. We're gonna go to Kansas.
You're going to Kansas to like start a new life?
Yeah, really though.
Okay. What's in Kansas?
I got a house down there.
Oh,
yeah.
You have a house in Kansas?
Yeah. We're gonna go down there right now. Though.
You just bought it?
Yeah, I'm excited, bro.
Oh, what? How'd you buy a house in Kansas from here?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin? Shut up.
No, for real.
How much did you make on Bitcoin?
About 500,000.
Shut the fuck up.
But it's just in Bitcoin. I haven't withdrawn it yet.
So you have $500,000 in a Bitcoin account that you just bought a house.
Yep.
And you're going to Kansas.
Yep.
And you're living in a tent right now.
Yeah, that's why we're just giving away our stuff.
When did you decide to do this?
Yesterday. We just got the plane tickets.
That is unbelievable. And he's not going to be the only person to do that. That's for sure. And kind of throughout this week, we've been talking about how, the narrative right now in society is that if you're under the age of 30, you're not going to be able to afford a house. And I called that straight up bullshit. And I said that if anybody ever tells you that, if you're 30 years old or under and somebody tells you that you're not going to be able to afford a house, it's bullshit. And I said that I do agree that in the fiat world, if you're earning fiat, saving in fiat, and trying to buy a house in dollars, you are never going to be able to do it unless you're a doctor or something that's really going to, push the needle forward. But for the average person, they're never going to be able to afford a house in the dollar system. But then you look at a guy like this, living in a tent in the woods with his pregnant girlfriend. And think about that. You have to think about this on another level here. Because he's got to that point, and he's obviously, he didn't buy Bitcoin at $60,000 last month. He's had Bitcoin for a long time. And so he understands what's happening here. And I think that there's a lot of kids like him who understand what's happening here. And we might not hear about it or see anything on the news about it. But think about the level of conviction that guy would have to go through to hold on to $500,000 worth of Bitcoin while you're sleeping in a tent in the woods. And knowing that at any time you could easily sell some of that Bitcoin and get a hotel room for a month. That's kind of how most people still think, is that they have this money. We're going to spend it. We're not going to live in a tent. We're going to spend this money. We're going to go get a hotel, live comfortably for a while. This dude is living in a tent in the woods, sitting on $500,000 worth of Bitcoin. It's another level that the Bitcoiners are on. And I think that it's only going to continue to change as we go forward here. So tying it into this question here in terms of, should you sell your house and buy Bitcoin? I don't think it really depends on what your situation is. That's what I would say. I don't think that it's wise to sell your house, buy Bitcoin, and start renting, mostly because rent is not cheap. And yeah, you're paying some interest on your mortgage. Yeah, you're paying for your property taxes. It's a pain in the ass. but you're probably not paying that much more for your mortgage payment and all your costs versus rent. Rent's insane right now. So you might get a bit of a break in terms of Bitcoin, but you're going to really inconvenience yourself. And especially if you're in a place that you love and you have no reason to live or no reason to move other than to buy Bitcoin with it. I don't think that you should be moving or selling your house. I would say that you should consider refinancing it though. Depending on where you're at in your term. Probably if you're in the US and you've signed a 30-year mortgage at like 2% rate, maybe not, maybe a portion of it. But what I would consider now is refinancing your house, taking the proceeds from that, tax-free proceeds, buying Bitcoin, and then just sit on that. Don't ever sell it. Let it appreciate and just keep paying the mortgage payments. And even if you have to take an extra 10 years to pay off your house, like who the hell knows what the world's going to look like in 30 years from now. I do know that you're never going to get Bitcoin at this price again, for sure. And I'm not going to tell you to do that because I haven't done that myself. So don't consider that gospel and a surefire strategy. I did sell my rental house. So back in 2021 at the peak of the market, peak of the Bitcoin market, sold my rental house and bought Bitcoin. But you never want to inconvenience yourself for Bitcoin. You still have to remember that we're only here for so long. So living in a tent in the woods is a little bit extreme, but it's still pretty cool. Just the fact that I do think that that's going to be the mentality of young people going forward, is they just see no future in the current system that we have. They're not stupid. They have access to every app, every video, every website. They know what's happening here. And the longer they hold on to that Bitcoin, the more power they're going to have in the future. And so I do think that if you are somebody who has a teenager in your life, if you're a teacher or a parent, whatever that is, it's important to start explaining to them the differences between fiat, our monetary system, and Bitcoin. Because once they understand that, they're never going to save any dollars anymore. They're going to be buying Bitcoin. And that's going to create such a different world for them into the future.